Welcome back, everybody. I want to talk today about hearing protection. These little monsters, I'm always wearing these. However, these are a new model, and I want to tell you about them, what they do for you, how they help you, and how they're going to extend your work period through the rest of your life. So stick around, check it out. You're going to need to watch this one. This is 3M WorkTunes Connect. This is model 90570. It came out in 2024, but I recently got my hands on a set because I needed some more. I've had some of the older models, and what I like to do, I keep one in my shop and one in the trailer. And that way, when I get in the trailer and go to a job, I always have one. When I'm at the shop, I always have one ready. Without having to go back and get it from the trailer, or without leaving the trailer and having to come here and grab one. Here's right off the bat with the old ones, and these are an older, I forget the model number. I'm going to look up that model number. The plastic eventually will break around here, and I haven't found any replacement pads. There might be some, but I haven't found them, although I haven't searched the world over. But the pads break. Everything else still functions, but these are honestly 2 years old. And for whatever they cost in the $50 range, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining one bit. The old ones had a noise reduction rating, NRR, of 24. The new ones have an NRR, noise reduction rating, of 26. And what does that mean? What exactly does that mean? It means a couple things. And the true meaning is very hard to, for me, I've searched AI engines and I get mixed reviews. I see the documents. This is the English portion. There's 4 sides to this. This is the English section. And it goes into some explanation about decibels and noise reduction, but to me, it's still a foggy area. It depends on how you interpret the information that you have. There's an OSHA regulation. They have their way of determining the NRR, and there's a NIOSH rating, and they have their way of figuring the NRR. OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and NIOSH is the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. So there's 2 different departments doing 2 different things. One's looking after safety, one's looking after work practices, which typically involve safety. They both have a little different way of interpreting how they're coming up with a formula, the noise reduction rating. How does that affect what you're doing? And one of the things I thought of, what is the loudest tool I have? I'm pretty sure it's my table saw. I have some loud tools. Everybody has some loud tools. Circular saws are pretty loud. But I think about my table saw, model number DWE7491, and it has a decibel rating of 105.2. Some things might be surprising. I think circular saws, they come screaming at you. The big point is hearing protection is very serious. 85 decibel average on an 8-hour day is acceptable. So you're allowed to have some peaks, but you don't want to exceed 85 in a day. You don't want to damage your hearing. That's the bottom line. 85 is acceptable. But my table saw is 105, 105.2. So what does this do? It's rated at 26 NRR, 26 decibel noise reduction rating. The paperwork says just take 26 off of the number and that's what you're at. So 105.2, call it 106. They're saying this puts you at 80. Well, NIOSH and OSHA, they don't say that. They have a formula where first you take this rating, you subtract 7. And one of the things they're considering is a perfect fit. Me, because I have glass, it may be touching the hat also, which interferes. Some people may have a thick beard, which interferes. NIOSH and OSHA immediately say remove 7 decibels off of the noise reduction rating, whatever they're calling it. And then they say, OSHA says, and then cut that number in half. So if this says 26 You take 7 off of it, you're at 19. Then they say cut that number in half, so you're at 9.5. OSHA says a 26 NRR applied to my table saw at 105.2 decibels, you only reduce 9.5, but that leaves you at 95.7 decibels, which is still higher than the 8-hour average that they're giving you, but it's quite a reduction. NIOSH's rating is also remove 7 and then keep 70% of the remaining number. So they're a little more conservative with it, or maybe lenient, and that 105 will go down to 91.9, which is still higher than 85, but it's a lot lower than 95. 3 different AI engines and this, so 4 different sources to try to get the truth about what actually does this do for you. And I've literally got 4 different answers. One of them, Grok, I like Grok, whatever. Grok gave me different answers, and then I said, wait a minute, you said that before. And they said, yeah, well, I did say that, but now I'm saying this. And then 2 questions later, they're saying different things. And it's all based on reports that they're reading, I believe. So the reports vary across the field. First of all, what am I listening to now? I'm not listening to Foo Fighters. You know what I'm listening to? And this is peculiar for me, but what I've been listening to for a couple of months is Pandora. That's all I listen to is Pandora. But I've been listening to the Bon Iver radio station. And when I first listened to it, and it's obviously not only him, it's him and other songs, maybe in that genre. I thought it was extremely depressing. It was like, what is this? This is what? Why are they doing this? It sounds like they're having their last walk or something, and just playing the guitar. Anyway, and then I went away from it, and then one day I kind of came back to it, and I'm appreciating, I like different types of music, and right now I'm doing this. And honestly, I'm going to recommend it. Pandora Radio, the Bon Iver radio. It's not crazy. It's subtle music, and it's comfortable music. And that's one thing I like to do while I'm working is not, I don't listen to podcasts. I don't want to focus on a conversation and lose my attention on what I'm doing. I like kind of ambient background music. Obviously, I want it to be something I appreciate. And my taste varies. If I listen to one thing long enough, my favorite thing in the world, and what would that Beck? I used to love Everclear. I used to love Foo Fighters. I used to love Led Zeppelin. I used to, and still do, love Pink Floyd. A number of things, but if I listen to too much Pink Floyd, I gotta take a break from Pink Floyd and go listen to something else. And taking breaks from other things led me to Bon Iver. Anyway, how does this thing function? It's got two simple buttons. It's got an on-off button in yellow, and it's as simple as that. You hold it for a second, and then it tells you connected to on and 50%. It tells you the battery level, and it tells you whether it's connected or not connected to whatever your source is. My source is the phone that's filming this, and so when I use it, it's connected to the phone and the Pandora app within the phone. When you get a phone call while you're working, while you're listening to music, you hear it. Ring-a-ling-ling. You press one time. You press the yellow button. It answers the phone call. If you don't want to answer the phone call, if you want to shut the phone call down, you press and hold that button for a few seconds, and it disregards the phone call. And then, unlike the old one has one button also. Power button answers calls, and at the same time, it cancels calls like, hey, thanks, goodbye, click, phone call ends. The new one also has a volume button. It used to be with the old one, you had to control the volume on your device, which isn't so horrible. But this one, you can control the volume from here, and it's kind of a fat toggle. It goes up and it goes down. It goes up and it goes down. It's just a little click. It's not heavy movement. But because it's kind of wide, if you have gloves on, maybe you're working out in the cold, maybe you're doing a jackhammer and maybe you're welding. Even with big, heavy gloves, you can still adjust the volume. One thing I forgot to mention, it's a great improvement. On the new one, the power and Bluetooth button, you see right here on the side, it's hidden safely on the side. And the volume button is up and down, but if you depress it, it doesn't do anything, but it'll change the volume if you go up or down. The good news, the power and Bluetooth button being on the side, you won't accidentally bump it. The old model, the power and Bluetooth button was on the actual outer face. And a lot of times when I was carrying a sheet of plywood or like carrying a door or a piece of furniture, something up on my shoulder, close to my head, maybe resting my head against it, it would, and you see, if you open it up like that, it would hit that button and it wouldn't shut it down, but it would, with one tap, it would turn the music off. Or if you happen to be in a phone call, it would turn the phone call off. So that had its moments of being annoying, and then just it's not what you were looking for. But with this being on the side like that, like wrapped around the corner, it's a really good improvement. Obviously, somebody got some feedback on that. And there's another thing. Speaking of volume, I always wonder if I'm using this to reduce the sound, because I don't want the sound of the tool or the environment damaging my ears. But I get my phone out and I'm going to crank up Foo Fighters' Let It Die. The thing is, this only goes so loud. And I've seen in some reviews where people say it doesn't go loud enough. But I honestly think it goes plenty loud. I've never maxed it out, and I get good sound. And I'm not looking for my ears to bleed. I'm looking for just hear it well. And I hear it well. And some people might say, my wife would say, I guarantee you, my wife would say, that's too loud. You shouldn't have it that loud. But for me, I'm not maxing it out, and it's plenty loud, and I can hear whatever I'm listening to, whether it's a phone call or a Bon Iver radio. It has a USB-C for charging. The old one had I forget what you call it, the one that's like flat and then it kind of does this. This one has USB-C, the way a lot of things are moving to USB-C. This has adjustable wire. It adjusts this. The wire stays fixed to the head, but from here to over the ear thing, you see there's adjustment there, quite a bit of adjustment. So you can help it to fit your own personal situation. I think the plastic here is the same as the plastic on these, and I imagine it's going to fail at some point. I don't know what gets it that way, because it's a little thin. Does it get a little sunshine? Yes, because I'm out in the sunshine like that. But the way it falls apart, it's not pretty. And both of them are falling apart kind of in a similar fashion. What are you going to do? The fact that it controls the sound that you're allowed to hear, they call that a safe volume limiter. And it also has a 40-hour battery life, at least an estimated 40-hour battery life. I really like it. It works well. It protects well. It takes the calls well. And I want to be safe. I want you to be safe. And this is a very important subject. So I thought I'd break it out. I hadn't seen these before. I went to order another one of these, and I ordered these on Amazon. I'm a big Amazon guy, but I saw they weren't so available like they used to be. And then similar items showed me this item. And so I went and I found out it's a little newer. It gives a little better NRR rating, and it's a little bit higher. I think it was $20 higher. I think it was like 48 and 68, if I'm not mistaken. And but you know, that's the way it is, and it's still a fair price. You should get some of these. I'll leave a link, and I recommend these. I completely recommend these. I actually bought another one to try another one. It was about a year ago, and immediately I didn't like it. When I put it on, it felt like a child set, and I don't have a large head. I put them on and they were painfully tight. and barely fit over my head. So I returned them, and I don't like returning things because it costs money, but I returned them, and I ended up buying the second one of these. Thanks for checking this out. Thanks for staying here and sitting through this few minutes of safety talk. It's Safety Sunday over here with Mike. Thank you. See you on the next one.